Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about my quarterly goals. I have mentioned a number of times before that I really benefit from not only checking in with my goals on a quarterly basis, but picking milestones, focuses, just things I want to focus on each quarter for my overarching annual goals. And I'm going to talk about this both for my personal goals and my business goals. So if you are new here, first off, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I would highly recommend that you start with my overarching 2023 annual goals. This is gonna give you the big picture of what I'm focused on for the entire calendar year and will help make a little bit more sense when I talk about these individual quarterly goals. Additionally, if you didn't catch last quarter's video, I would at least watch the second half so you have a little bit more background info about each of my quarterly goals, because in this video, I'm gonna talk about them in terms of progress. How did they go? How far did I get? Like, did I check that thing off? Some of them are not quite as specific, so it's more how do I feel about that goal? Do I feel like I made progress on that goal? And then, of course, I will share all of my goals for the upcoming quarter. So let's start with my second quarter personal goals. So we'll do personal Q2, personal Q3, business Q2, business Q3. So I had 6 personal goals for this last quarter, one related to each of my annual goals. The first one was related to my overarching relationship goal, and that was to go on 1 friend date per month. I did that. I can check that one off. I'm laughing at myself because I'm slightly adjusting my goal for the next quarter. I did go on 1 friend date per month in Q2 with the same friend, and I love her, and I am so thankful that we live in the same city, but like, it wasn't that much work. Like, it really wasn't that hard. The hardest part was like making sure that our schedules aligned and we were able to find a date each month. But clearly I didn't really work on any other relationships besides that one. The next one was to update my social security number as part of my overarching name change progress. And I did not do that because, at least as of the time I'm filming this video, we still haven't filed our taxes for 2022. That is a long story that I'm not gonna get to in this video or on the internet. So no, that one didn't happen, but that is an example of an action step that something else had to happen first in order for me to take that action, and that other thing didn't happen. So it is what it is. All right, now it's gonna get a little bit more chatty. The next personal quarterly goal I had was to work on routines, and then I got specific between AM, PM, and cleaning. So let's talk about each of them individually. Starting with my AM routine, I feel really good about this one. Maybe like a 7 or 8 out of 10. I'm not doing it every single day, but I'm doing it most days. I'm definitely not doing every single step every day, but again, most days I'm doing most steps, and I have been able to slowly integrate steps back into my routine that I wasn't doing, and that feels really good. I feel like I'm very close to it getting back to what it was before, you know, just in time for it to be completely blown up when a newborn shows up. But at least I have a routine in place that then I have something to work off of or work towards too, and that feels good, because it would have been difficult for me to do what I've done the last couple of months, building up that routine with a newborn. So even though I know that it's about to get totally blown up, I feel really good about the progress that I have made and where I'm at with it right now. I also have a video coming up soon walking you through my entire morning routine, so if you're interested in that, make sure you are subscribed. PM routine. I wish I was as confident and felt as good about this one as I do about my morning routine. That's pretty much never the case for me. As a morning person, I feel like I'm always gonna feel better about my morning routine, but my PM routine is literally like 5 steps. I really cannot figure out why it's as difficult for me as it seems to be, but I mean, I've made progress on it this quarter, but I definitely don't feel as good about it. Maybe like a 4 out of 10. And then the last one was a cleaning routine, and that one even worse, maybe like a 2 out of 10. I definitely made progress. Like, I have made progress on things. I have gotten the Roomba all set up. I have cleaned some stuff. I have a new cleaning list that I kind of reference every now and then. But my cleaning routine overall kind of was what it was back when we were in New York, which was I clean the apartment before we have company. And that's kind of how it's been here as well. For now, I'm just not super focused on worrying about this one. I had the same mindset as the morning routine, that I wanted to get a cleaning routine kind of in place for this new apartment, knowing that it was likely gonna have to change when the baby came, but at least I had something in place. And at this point, I'm not even worried about that. It's not something the morning routine, at least I had something that I was kind of rebuilding or energizing. The cleaning routine, I was pretty much starting from scratch. And since I really didn't make that much progress on it in Q2, I'm I know myself and I am not going to prioritize it in Q3 knowing that I'm not going to be able to finish it and get it into a good place. So I might as well just wait. Overall, I'm glad I made that a goal for the quarter. And I do feel like I prioritized and did things that I wouldn't have routine-wise had it not been a goal, even if it sounds like overall I was less than impressed with my own progress. The next quarterly goal was related to our overarching financial goal for the year, and that was to get back into consistent tracking. I tried to make that my Q1 goal, and with moving and first trimester symptoms, it didn't happen. So I just pushed it and reprioritized it in Q2, and it went great for Q2. I have tracked all of our expenses. I have sent monthly summaries to my husband. It feels really good. We have a really good understanding of where our numbers are in a new city and with everything we've got going on in our businesses. And so I'm really glad that I prioritized that one. I feel like it's a 10 out of 10. The next quarterly goal was to get back to basics with some of my physical health focuses. I was hoping that with some extra second trimester energy and just feeling a little bit more settled in our apartment, I was gonna be able to kind of get back into these things. And I mean, it wasn't awful. It wasn't the worst, but it also wasn't the best. Some things were better than others. I feel like I got a handle on my water again, and that was good. I feel like I got some extra movement in, but not near as much as I wanted to, or kind of, maybe it was just an expectation problem. Maybe I just had way too high expectations of myself. Truthfully, I thought I was being realistic in a lot of ways, but maybe ultimately I wasn't. I've never been pregnant before. I don't know what it is like, even with moving into what is known as the better or best trimester, but it's still like, I may have still had high expectations of myself. If I think about this goal in comparison to first quarter, great, knocked it out of the park. If I compare myself to like a prior version of me who was really good at these kinds of habits and action steps, it wasn't that great. So this one is hard for me to kind of judge. I feel like I did make a lot of progress on paper, but I don't personally feel like I made that much progress. That may or may not make sense to you, but that's how I'm feeling about that one. And then the last quarterly focus is related to the annual goal of having a baby, which was not in that original annual goals video because I did not know at that point that we were expecting. But I had two major focuses for Q2. One was to get the registry done, and then one was to get everything situated for our baby moon. Both of those are in great shape. I feel really good about the registry. I did procrastinate it a lot, but I finally got it done. And it doesn't mean that I'm not still tweaking or adding things, or somebody sent me something recently that wasn't like what they sent was on my registry, but like a different brand of it. So then I, went and took off the one that was on the registry, things like that. Like I'm constantly messing with it, but I'm not actively thinking about it, or I don't need to work on it. So I feel good about that one. And then the baby moon, same thing. We got the hotels and the flights booked, and those were the priorities. We don't have anything else booked as of the filming of this video. The baby moon is in 2.5 weeks, and we don't have anything else booked. I'm okay with that. I'm okay just to take a couple of days to completely unwind and relax, spend time together, read books, take naps, and just completely chill on the beach or by the pool. My husband is not quite as into the do nothing kind of vacations. And normally I'm like not even half and half. Like I want it to be like 75-25. Like 75% of the time we're like activities, adventure, tours. 25% of the time I could like read my book and do nothing. He on a regular vacation leans definitely more than I do, maybe like 90-10. He wants to be doing something and like 10% is resting. For this particular vacation, I am totally okay if we swing the other way and it's like 0-100 and all I do is read books and relax. I know that he could not handle doing that for 4 days straight. So we do still need to talk about maybe booking some activities. He has also been very much focused on a certification test that he is taking, and the test is 2 days before our trip. So he's also gonna be working really hard and studying. So I'm hoping that maybe plays a role into wanting to relax a little bit more on this trip compared to normal. But again, he's still not gonna be a 0-100. So that is one thing left on that list that we kind of need to talk about that we haven't talked about yet. I was kind of waiting for my energy to come back. and then seeing how he was potentially gonna feel. So, but overall, I still feel really good about that goal. So in total, a pretty good quarter for personal goals. I think I mentioned this in the last quarterly goals video, but my trimesters almost perfectly line up with the quarters. It's kind of nice. Q1 was pretty much all my first trimester, Q2 is pretty much all my second trimester, and Q3 is pretty much the entire third. And so since I was feeling so much better in Q2 physically, that definitely made a big difference in what I was able to get done. That'll show up when we get to my business goals too. All right, moving into my personal goals for Q3. I actually have 8. There are 2 annual goals that each have 2 personal goals. Part of me is like, are you being a little bit overambitious? And I might be being a little bit overly ambitious. Some of them are small, some of them are large. So we'll see how it goes. I've said this before, I am one of those people that can have a massive to-do list or a massive goals list and know that I'm not gonna get to all of it. I know I'm not gonna necessarily get 10 out of 10s on all of these goals, and that's okay. I would still rather make some progress on all of them than prioritize and make all the progress on some of them. The first one is a big reminder of why checking in with your annual goals is so helpful, which, by the way, I did check in with my annual goals as part of this refresh. I didn't change any of my annual goals, so if I did, I would go through those with you, but I didn't make any changes. But what I was reminded of is that my relationship goal is about all relationships, not just friendship. And I think I was a little bit blinded by the fact that my goal in 22 was focused a lot more on friendships. And this one was all relationships. So I decided that I was gonna make a quarterly goal that was about our marriage. Not that there's anything specific, like there's not any reason why I feel like I need to prioritize this other than our lives are about to change. And we are about to go from just the 2 of us, which is how it's been for 7 years, to the 3 of us. And so I thought it would be nice to take a quarter where we can kind of prioritize us for a little bit. The action steps are not gonna be super in-depth and like super time consuming, but I just wanted to make it a goal and bring it to the forefront to remind myself that A, this goal is about more than just friendship, and B, let's prioritize the relationship as the 2 of you for the last 3 months that it's just the 2 of you. The next one is back to being related about the friendship, and this goal is a direct response to the outcome of Q1, which was that I went on friend dates with the same person all 3 months. And I love you, obviously, you know who you are. But I made a quarterly goal to expand my friend dates. So same thing, I didn't put it on the paper, but same thing, my goal is to do 1 per month with 3 different people and not the same person from Q2. Not that I'm probably not gonna have friend dates or see her in Q2, but the actual goal is 3 friend dates with 3 other people. The next one is related to change my name, and all I wrote was actually make progress. I am getting way less confident that I'm actually gonna finish this, at least have my license in time for the birth certificate. That was my goal. I don't need your thoughts or comments. I'm good. It is what it is. The next one is related to the get settled in Chicago goal, and I feel this is the one that's probably way too ambitious. And so like if anything is gonna get kind of cut from Q3, it's gonna be this one. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna make any progress on it, but getting 100% is not going to happen because I literally wrote the word finish, and that is finish the apartment list. Now, we have made a lot of progress in our apartment, a lot. But yet the list of things that I still want to finish or organize or buy or hang up or build or all of that is still huge. At least it still feels huge. And so I would love, more than anything, for all of those things to be done by the time the baby gets here. I would love that. That is why I made it a quarterly goal. It may or may not happen, but that's what I made my goal. The next one is related to the finance goal, and that is to figure out our parental leave plan. I've said this before, both my husband and I own our own businesses, so we don't have any paid parental leave come in to this household. But we both have made a lot of moves in our business this year and done a lot of things in preparation, or are going to, in my case, you'll see that in my business goals, to not work for a set amount of time after the baby gets here. And I'm not necessarily gonna go into all of the details of what we have decided, both from a personal standpoint, like a privacy standpoint, as well as it may change, right? We may change our minds one way or the other. But I do want to make sure that we kind of set up a system like have all of the auto pays and have some transfers maybe from our savings, or at least moving things from our savings into our checking so that we feel good and we're not worrying about all of that financially, just because our income will be a little bit lower. Now, the good news, well, this isn't necessarily good news, a fact is that my husband's business is a little bit more delayed than mine. So if he is taking off the entire, let's say the entire month of October, that's not going to impact his October income. His October income is gonna be based on the work that he did in like July, August, September. It's about a 2-month lag. It can be shorter or longer depending on the client, depending on the situation. He's a financial advisor, if I didn't say that. So in reality, it's probably not that necessary. Like it's all gonna be just fine in terms of how things shake out, and I'll be back in like tracking our finances by the time I would see that kind of dip from the time that he takes off, if that makes sense. But for our own mental health, I want to take some time this quarter, first off, kind of summarize and get familiar with our numbers and set up some auto pay, auto movement things in preparation for baby. All right, the next one is based on my physical health goal, and that is to prepare my body for labor. I debated a long time what to call this goal. It's not gonna look that different from what I focused on in Q2. You'll see in the monthly goals video that will be up in a few days, like one big daily step that I'm adding in. And there's some other things on my breakdown that I might add in when it gets a little bit closer. But in reality, I just kind of wanted to remind myself that you are about to go through something that, according to all kinds of studies, thanks to all the Instagram reels that have told me all of this information, how physically demanding it is. So like, take care of your body. And then the last two are related to the baby goal. Not that the rest of these quarterly goals are also not related to the fact that in Q3, we're literally having a baby. Like that is happening, and like it will happen in this quarter. Anyways, the first one is to finish the pre-baby list. I kind of brain dumped a bunch of things that I want / need to do before baby gets here. Everything from like wash all of the clothes to finish the nursery, like building the furniture. I mean, I'm not gonna do that, but somebody building the crib, to other little like side projects that I have not been prioritizing that I would like to get done before she gets here. Again, similar to the apartment goal, using the word finish is really bold. There are things on this list that have to get done, but then there's things on this list that don't. So if I don't finish it, it's not the end of the world. I'm okay with having an overly ambitious list and then being okay with not getting to all of it. And then the last one maybe isn't directly related to baby. It's kind of a carryover from Q2, something that just kind of popped up and I added in the middle of the quarter. But some of the steps I'm taking are directly correlated, and that is to clean up social media. There's a couple different pieces to this. One is who I am following on social media. When I open my social media, I want it to be positive. I want to feel good about what I'm looking at. And I mean, that's always the case, but I definitely want to make sure going into this massive life change that I feel good about what is on my homepage. So that's part of it. Part of it is my social media time, which is the piece of it that I started in Q2 and then I'm kind of carrying over. And just like feeling like my social media is just a lot less cluttered. I don't know, that's the word that kept coming up for me when I was breaking this goal down. So those are all of my personal goals for Q3. The page that I'm writing these on, that page is directly from the goal planner that I created that is actually available now for purchase. If you have not set up your Q3 or your July goals and you are looking for a new goal planner to try out, you can buy just the Q3 version of the planner. It is a completely digital product. It's not a physical planner, but it is just Q3 and it's available now to everyone, which is so exciting. So I will leave that link down below if you are interested in checking it out. And if you've already set up Q3 and July, keep an eye out because there will be one for Q4. Speaking of, let's move into my business goals. So I only talk about my business goals on a quarterly basis and not a monthly basis because the monthly nitty gritty is a lot more in depth and detailed. I don't even know how I would make that into a video versus my personal goals, but also because some of that is information I don't necessarily want to share right now. But I do always share them in these quarterly videos from a big picture standpoint. So same thing as we did with personal, let's start with the Q2 ones and how they went. Before we start talking specifics though, I have to say, the system I use for my business goals and business project planning and management and all of that is called the HB90 system. And it has absolutely changed my life in terms of planning and executing on my business goals. Unfortunately, when this video goes up, you can't sign up right now. I'm gonna leave it linked down below so you can, I think she has a wait list that you can join when it goes live again in September. It's offered once a quarter, like as we approach the new quarter. So it's already too late to join for Q3. But what I want to say is in that system, she encourages you to set numerical goals that are not within your control. And I understand why, and I'm not going to go into that because that's part of her course. and like her thought process. And so I did it for Q4 of last year. And so I've done it for the last, I guess, 3 quarters now. Is that really it that I've been using the system? Man, it's made such a difference for me. It hasn't even been a year. And you can watch my past quarterly goals videos where I talk about like, did I hit those numbers? I'm not sharing the numbers with you, but I do share like, I set usually 3 based on her recommendation, a good, better, and best goal. And I share like which one I hit in relation to the goal. In the past, I feel like I have done a decent job of estimating or setting numerical goals that were reasonable, because for most of them, I have fallen somewhere on the spectrum of the numbers that I picked. This quarter, that was not the case. And I don't know if it's because these particular goals were harder for me to estimate, or because I set up my Q2 goals too quickly and didn't like go through the entire process and really take the time to estimate the numbers. I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I was way off on 2 of the 3, and in both like opposite directions for both of them. It wasn't like I really just like underestimated myself or overestimated myself this quarter. Like, I don't even know what happened. So let's talk about them specifically. The first one was to just execute on my recurring tasks. So all of the things I do regularly, upload YouTube videos, create content for the community, etc. And then I included as part of the recurring tasks, a goal to have a set number of members of the community. This is the one that I was off much lower. Like, I didn't even get close to that first good number. I don't know. I'm not sure where my brain was when I set these goals. So that's what happened. Now that I'm thinking about it, part of it may have been, like now that I'm like reading this paper in front of me, was that the goal was just the recurring tasks, but the numbers here were growth. But I didn't do any specific projects to like increase growth in my community. So I guess it should have made sense that I wasn't gonna grow. So I don't know what I was thinking. So that one, way off on one end of the spectrum. The next one was to relaunch the course, which I did do, which is always gonna be linked in the description box. The course is now available all the time, which is just the best. And that was the big piece of it for me, was getting the entire course refilmed and edited and uploaded so that people can get it whenever they want and go through it at their own pace. And this one I was like smack dab in the middle. I did sales numbers in terms of dollars, because when I set these goals, part of it, actually I said this in last quarter's video, I wasn't actually sure how much I was gonna charge for the course. So I did pick dollar numbers even without knowing how much I was gonna charge, and I fell right smack dab in the middle. So that one worked, I guess. And then the last one was to launch the Q3 goal planner. And one of the things, I guess now that I'm talking about it, man, I always get so much from talking to you about my goals. When I did my goals, I was not quite sure how or what I was gonna do to launch the planner. I had thought maybe I would just launch it to the community, and I did originally just tell the community, and like I didn't tell anybody else that it was live, and then ultimately I did. But even before that, like even before I told everybody else, I still completely blew that last number out of the water. Like the good, better, best, the best was like I had already surpassed it. And then I told everybody about the planner, and I've almost doubled that number now. So this one, I just really underestimated myself, and I don't know where I picked those numbers from. And I didn't do dollar amounts, I did like counts of sales. But anyway, that's how my business goals went in Q2. Overall, I feel really good about my business goals, my business in general in Q2. One of my big focuses this year, should come as no surprise, is that I am trying to create a business that I can better support around having a child, and a newborn, into all of the things related to having a child. And not just a newborn, but like in future, having a child, having a family. And that has been my focus for the year. And I just did a lot in Q2. I feel like that really supported that. And I'm feeling really good. Feeling really good about it. All right, let's talk about my Q3 business goals. So before we get into the actual goals, I wanna start by saying, you'll notice when I show them to you that I didn't even include recurring tasks as a goal. I have 3 completely different goals that I'm focusing on, which is actually how she has the system set up. I just have sometimes included recurring tasks as one of my goals because of my availability and my capacity to work on things. Recurring tasks take up a lot of time in my business. And so depending on what the other goals are, I don't have time for a whole extra third goal. This quarter is a little bit different because the goals are not necessarily as time intensive as some of my goals have been in the past. So that does mean on my Kanban board this quarter, and if you don't know what I'm talking about related to my Kanban board, I've shared it in a couple Plan With Me videos. The best video to reference is the one called How I Plan My Life. That's where I talk about my entire planning system from start to finish. Anyways, my Kanban board this quarter will have 4 colors on it. So it will have one color that's still all my recurring tasks. I will still include them in my Kanban board. And then my goals, there are 3 separate goals, and so there will be 3 more colors. All right, last thing, before I actually share the goals. I didn't include numbers this quarter. And part of it is that these were gonna be the goals that I was working towards regardless of the numbers. Like the numbers were not as important to me as, I mean, frankly, even some of my past goals, the numbers were not as important to me. I was setting them because that's how she encouraged you to set goals. But for these, given where I'm at in my life, in my business, like these are the things that I need to do this quarter, and the actions that I take are not gonna change regardless of what my numerical goals are. So I just felt like I didn't need them this quarter. We're gonna see how it goes. I might change my mind next quarter, but that's how I'm tackling it for now. So the first goal is to create all of the content for my maternity leave. I normally create content on a monthly basis anyway, where I create content for 1 whole month in advance. And I have created content for lots of things like in advance for various vacations, like when we were gone for the wedding or honeymoon and all of like things before. Never have I done it on this scale. So I felt like it needed its whole own project, its own goal for me to create all of the content that is going to go live for a set amount of time. And I'll share kind of more details once we get a little bit closer of what, I mean, nothing's gonna look different for you. Like all the content that you're used to will still be up. Yes, there won't be lives, obviously. If you watch the weekly lives, there's gonna be a video in its place. A video that I hope that you will like very much. A series I hope you will like very much in its place. But there's a lot of content to create. So that is the first business goal for the quarter. The next one is to get the Q4 planner designed and launched. Like obviously that timing was gonna happen anyways, regardless of baby. The Q4 planner was going to have to get out in Q3. That one is one of the goals that's not near as time intensive as other goals I've done in the past, even as much as the Q3 launch. Because for Q3, I changed a lot from the Q2 version to the Q3 version. The Q2 version was the first version I gave to anybody but myself. So there was a lot of feedback. Not that I'm not expecting feedback from the Q3 version, but I don't anticipate the actual design step of Q3 to be near as intensive in Q4. And then in terms of the launch process, or like telling you about it, like that whole process, I've done it. So like I know what to do. So that goal for sure, I'm not anticipating taking near as much time as it did in Q3 or Q2 for Q3. And then the last business goal that I have is to create an evergreen funnel for the course. And if you're like, I don't have any idea what that means, that's okay. You don't need to. I don't even really know all the steps. The first step of this goal is like figuring out the steps of the goal. Again, like I mentioned before, now the course is available all the time. You can go get the course whenever you want it. If you feel like you need help working on your goals, the course is available for you to work at your own pace. It's got everything I know about goals wrapped up in one neat little package with all like very well organized, with handouts in the right order, all of that. In full disclosure, I am working with a business coach to help me with this goal as well. But ultimately, it's to get an email funnel set up in the back end so that anybody who finds me, especially while I'm gone, like while I am not here because I'm taking care of a newborn, they will go through a sequence of emails that will tell them all the information they need to know about the course to help them make a decision if the course is a good fit for them. So I don't know as much about that goal as I do about the other two, like batching content. I know what I'm doing. Launching the planner again, I know what I'm doing. That one I do not, and it's gonna take a lot of research, but I still feel good about getting these 3 things done and checked off in Q3. Truthfully, business more so than personal, because for the personal goals, like if she decides to come early and I don't get to some of those things, like the world is not going to fall apart. For business, I am really making my plan to only execute on these things in July and August. I have a couple things I'm planning for September, but for the most part, it's just getting these projects done in July and August. So it's really only 2 months, not an entire quarter, but I still feel really good about them. Those are all of my goals for Q3, which is the last quarter that it's gonna be just me. And then Q4 is gonna be figuring out, there's a lot coming. And I don't actually know what the quarterly check-in of this for these quarterly goals is gonna look like, because normally I would film that video at the end of September, but I'm gonna be a little busy at the end of September. So I will eventually share. It may just be like an Instagram story of like, here's all my quarterly goals with. We will see. I may just film a video way later in the year. I don't know yet. There's that, and also figuring all that out is part of the like creating content, is kind of figuring out, like, I do want to update you on goals at some point, but it's gonna look different in the last quarter of the year. But I am getting very much ahead of myself. That is gonna be it for this very long quarterly goals check-in video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. I'm awkward today. And also, I feel like the first video takes me a while to get into it. Sorry. So I'm gonna start this sentence for like the 700th time. Really underestimated myself and underestimated my. It wasn't like I really oh my God, I can't talk.